Welcome, everybody, to the December 12th, 2020 edition of Whoote Loot, brought to you by Markonomics 101. Today's show is called Bull Market on the Ropes, and as you can see, I'm here in the boxing ring, but you know what? I'm like Rocky Balboa was in Philadelphia. Adrian, you're beautiful! I'm going to be the underdog, as is truth. This is the place to be amused, to be informed, never misled. Let's go to the charts. You're going to love today's show. Let's go into the charts, okay? So we're starting off with the Dow Jones Industrial Average. As you can see, again, green, a good formation. It's kind of getting tired, though. When I say is the bull market on the ropes, I mean, I'm not just talking about from a boxing standpoint, but it's showing signs of being tired. This is one of them right here, where it's broken out, but it hasn't gone very far, and it's kind of just churned. So, we're seeing a lot of that and a lot of interesting signs that we're going to get to in a minute here. This is the NASDAQ here. Notice this one again, it's barely broke out of its pattern, and it almost looks like it's going to go back into the triangle. That would be somewhat negative. And, right now I'm still going to call it neutral and maybe a bit positive, but, there's definitely signs that we're looking at a very, a punch drunk, like Muhammad Ali. I'll kick you, Cosell! Oh! Remember Muhammad Ali? You say, oh, God. Anyway, so... NASDAQ looking not looking that great. This is the small cap, S&P small cap. This is looking good. No complaints about this. But what this is showing you here is that there is an incredible euphoria that's going on right now. That the fear that existed amongst investors a while ago has turned to nothing but just unrestrained bullishness. For example, I mentioned in Market Psychology, a show a few weeks back, about how the Investors Intelligence Survey, which is of newsletter writers, often gets really heavily weighted toward bulls over bears at market tops. And sure enough, it's 4.0 to 1 right now. That is extremely high. It means 4 times the number of bears is number of bulls. So it means that, again, people are getting on the wrong side of the rowboat, lopsided. American Association of Individual Investors also getting lopsided. The little guy's getting really bought into this thing, and that's really part of the problem. And here's the, part of the is reflected here in these small caps. Standard & Poor's, again, broken out of a good pattern, but really hasn't gone anywhere. And, I can't say in looking at this that this is necessarily bad, but this isn't exactly what I would have expected. And especially with, the way that the sentiment is so lopsided right now, you have to wonder and you have to kind of be looking out here. So the trannies here, interestingly enough, it's above a trend line and it looks great, but it's also making a reverse wave high here, a 7-point reverse wave. You can see, as this megaphone, in red expands out, that is a reversal pattern. I mean, it never is a continuation pattern, so that doesn't look too good. Here's another place you're going to see some red, and this is in the U.S. dollar. The U.S. dollar continues to get creamed. It is central to what is going on out there. The dollar is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. All right, and here's the 10-year interest rate on Treasuries. I've talked about how this thing is about to break 1%, and interest rates are heading higher, even though this thing kind of settled back this week. The producer price index, there are indications of inflation already showing up. The producer price index had a 0.8% print last month. That's big. That's a high number. So this is the 30-year bond. This one, 30-year yields. This one, 1.8 resistance. But I think if it breaks there, and I think it will, this thing's going a lot higher, a lot faster, and it's causing a lot of problems for a lot of people who don't even realize that this train is coming down the track at them. Okay, so here is gold again. We're going to do a little bit of commodities here. Gold still looks very constructive. However, it's got to stay above that red line. It's really been consolidating for a long period of time. I think that what's happened is it took so much energy just to break through those historic highs that it's taken a rest here. But ultimately, this has to go up. It's just a matter of math. When you all of a sudden you have money being just sprayed out there like a fire hose, just unreal. Next chart is silver. Silver looks pretty good, actually. We really like this. I really like this. Even Ace likes this, and he never likes anything except, McDonald's or something like that. Okay, so gasoline going up. Now, this is kind of interesting because gasoline prices are going up. Cars are being bought. By whom? That's what I want to know. Who's driving those cars? I showed you in the prior issues or prior shows, we talked about General Motors and Ford and all these economically sensitive companies that are doing well. Okay, even though they're not doing well, but they're going up. Well, phantom drivers, phantom buyers, and here, buying phantom gasoline. Okay, there you go. Crude oil also going up, breaking out. This is, again, I think as much related to the dollar going down as anything else because it's denominated in dollars and it's international. So, this is going to, filter through the system and start showing up in inflation and higher interest rates, and the whole cycle, which is really hard to break, starts. So, Apple, again, we've talked about this company as, it's kind of amazing how much this thing has come up. It kind of broke out of that triangle, but I don't know. I would give it at most kind of a lukewarm plus. Doesn't look that good. And again, if this thing doesn't go up, it's not going to really do much for the indexes. So, Apple's not looking too good. Amazon also looking in a triangle. I give it a green, kind of on the plus side, but it could easily break down. I just don't know. We are really in one of those patterns where anything could happen, and we really could have the bull market on the ropes and not even know it quite yet. So, all right, so this is Facebook right here, still in a positive pattern, but this one could break down too. I had to give it green. It could easily go red, so you just have to be kind of flexible and check it out, and make sure that all your discourse is civil and none of this going on. Okay, no violence out there. We don't tolerate that at Markonomics 101. Ace hates that too. Okay. Google. Now, this one is a very interesting pattern here in that Google is just done really well, continued to drive the market higher. It's starting to kind of stall again. Again, is this thing on the ropes? Could be. It's got to be awfully tired, and there's an awful lot of exhaustion and froth and all that going on right now. So, Microsoft, I would call this neutral. This one could go up. It could go down. Either way, I think all of these will break the same way, and they'll pull the market down with them, or they'll all break up. And this is going to happen very shortly. So we'll have an answer to it. Qualcomm is kind of interesting too, because Qualcomm is not only a semiconductor company, but it's also in the 5G space. And so this thing kind of broke down on Friday. I mean, it's so far overextended that I don't know that it means anything, but it does mean that some fractures are showing up and that things are getting overextended, this being another example of it. Tesla, speaking of overextended, need I say more? Mr. 420, Elon Musk is moving to Texas and maybe seceding with them and bringing SpaceX with them, who knows, and the Boring Company. Although there's nothing boring about Elon. He was just here a few minutes ago and, whoo, God, I wish he would switch to vapes. Elon, we switched to vapes. Jesus Christ. Okay, let's keep going here. Okay, this is interesting. Now, I looked at this earlier. This is an ETF for retail. Okay. Do you notice something about this pattern? It goes up. It goes up to a new high. Retail. Have you been to a store lately? I sure as hell haven't. I don't even know anybody that's been to a store lately because you have to wear a stupid mask, number one. So how are these going up with all the bankruptcies in retail land? I'll tell you how. Because Amazon and Walmart and Target and Costco are retail now. They've driven almost everybody else out of business. All the small companies, right now you've seen this whole pandemonium here and closing down small businesses like crazy. Well, these kind of companies, this is evidence of exactly what's happened in the retail space. They're closing down like crazy, but the ETF's going up because it's all in 4 stocks. Okay, so here's one, the semiconductor index. This is still healthy. Nothing to say here. This one doesn't look on the ropes yet, but I'll tell you, this one gets about as frothy as they ever get. And when this thing starts coming down, it's going to come down like a tank. All right, these are the home builders. Again, the same people who are buying those cars, who are not buying the gas that they're putting putting in the cars are buying these homes. I mean, I find this just absolutely amazing. And to the extent that these homes are driven by really ultra low interest rates, that's not going to last very long. And ultimately, you need the population to grow. You need new household formation for homes to be bought. Otherwise, what's the point? And that's not happening right now. All right. So this one right here, I brought up because this is the healthcare sector. And what's interesting here is that first green elongated elliptical circle. Look how fast healthcare recovered after the initial sort of like 30-day crash. Healthcare has absolutely gone to the bank over this entire situation that we have. And, it's 1/6 of the economy. So somebody's doing well, although I don't know. I hear hospitals are empty. I hear hospitals are full. I have no idea. I stay away from them. I don't really want to go to one if my life depended on it, and it's going to probably have to. Okay, now the bank index kind of looking the same. I just wanted to point this out just because the domestic banks are looking okay, kind of rallying. But boy, I'll tell you, something is going on in Europe. And we're going to check this out in a second. But here we have the broker-dealer index. And the broker-dealer index, I've mentioned in the past, this is kind of interesting, but DoorDash, they love IPOs. Okay, so DoorDash went public on Thursday, $200 a share. It settled in at $90 billion valuation. Now, talk about a stupid purchase if I've ever heard of one. DoorDash doesn't do anything. They don't make the food. They just transport it from point A to point B. $90 billion for a piece of software? They don't own cars. They don't have employees. They don't cook the food. They don't have anything. They have a piece of software that Postmates has, Instacart has, Uber has, Lyft has, everybody has, and somehow that's worth $90 billion. In a very competitive business, oh, okay, good. Like that, but it's all good for the broker dealers because they just mint money on an offering of that size. My God, no wonder these things went crazy. Here's Barclays Bank. Now this is apparently starting to fall apart after Brexit, and this is kind of the interesting thing is that international banks look like they're starting to weaken and fracture. So we're going to keep an eye on them. This one being Deutsche Bank. Now look at that plunge. Okay. This one was looking very healthy. All of a sudden, just turned on a dime. I have no idea what's going on, but this is something, again, we need to keep an eye on because it may mean something, and there's enough of it going on here. Finally, UBS, which is Union Bank of Switzerland. This is probably the most healthy bank there is. Even this one started to come down. It may be those interest rates getting unwound. Who knows? Some of the issues that we found interesting, this is Aurora Cannabis. It really looks like a good pattern. You would, if you own this or if you buy this, just make sure you keep your stop around 950 or so. But this one has huge upside potential. Coeur d'Alene is a silver miner. Look at that beautiful, beautiful pattern staying near its highs. If silver does break out, this thing is going to go flying with it. Love this company right here. This is Canopy Growth, the largest marijuana company. They benefit the most if marijuana does indeed go legal federally. It looks like it will. I don't know how long that'll take, but given the administration, it probably will just sail through Congress. Let's see. The next one, we've got Dorado Gold, again, looking really good. This is one of those small miners that has held up very well and has traded at like almost 10 times the price in the past. So this thing can go a lot higher. Hecla Mining, another silver company, again, looking pretty good here. Tilray is our final company here. Tilray is another marijuana company, again, in a good pattern, looking like it's going up, but be careful here. Don't let this thing, break through the triangle. Anyway, thank you very much for tuning in today. Please subscribe. Please like us. We love it. Any comments that you have. We're trying to give you the truth, and the truth is so precious these days. There's no fake news here. We are so fake, we're real. Markonomics 101, Whoote Loot. See you next time. Thanks for tuning in.